Orders are on. This is the city commission meeting, Thursday, April 28th, 2022, at 6 o'clock. Tonight, the invocation will be given by Clara Ray, and I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand, and gentlemen, take off your hats, please.
If you bow your heads and pray with me, please. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we come to you, Lord Jesus. We just ask you to be with us all. We thank you for keep getting us here safely. We offer to you our commission, Lord, as they come together to make decisions that are best for our community. We just lift them to you, Lord, and we just pray that your blessings come upon them. Father, we pray that you bless our community. Give us the strength, the courage, wisdom that we need to make right choices, to build our community to your glory. We thank you, Lord, and we're going to thank you for the rain that you're going to send that we need so desperately upon our land. We trust in you, Lord Jesus. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya. Commissioner Villanueva.
Here.
Commissioner Arias.
Here.
Commissioner Terry.
Here.
Mayor Litchfield.
Here. Are there any considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, I'm sorry. I request that item 8A be deleted from the agenda.
Are there any others? There being none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Do I have a second? Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Commissioner Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya.
Next on the agenda is public comments. Citizens wanting to make a comment during this time must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting. It's an opportunity for citizens to comment on non-agenda items, and this is not for discussion or questions and answers. Citizens will be given 3 minutes. And so first on our agenda is Ryan Lopez.
Hi, I'm Ryan Lopez. Most of you know me. I'm born and raised here. My parents are here. Everybody knows who they are. I'm here to speak on the backlash that was given to the animal control officer. There's a lot of things that go unrecognized and unknown that happens within animal control. Animal control works 7 days a week, no overtime allowed. He must fit everything he has to do into that 40 hours. There is only one officer. He is in control of animal control, keeping the kennels clean. He is in control of answering calls, as well as answering emails, answering voicemails, and as well as code enforcement, since we do not have a code enforcement officer anymore. Most people don't know the max capacity of that kennel is 7 dogs. At times, he has had to take care of up to 15 dogs all on his own. Most people don't take care of one. As mentioned, he doesn't show up on time. The hours that were mentioned that he was worked, incorrect. He works 8 to 5 now, 7 days a week. Prior to that, he was off Monday, Tuesdays. So he would go into work after everybody would leave because he has a baby that he takes care of. Okay, let's see. It was mentioned he is seen cruising often. That is correct. He answers calls. If people call in for a dog, he answers that call. If people call in for a skunk, he also answers that call. If people call in because the water at a motel is too hot, he has to answer that call. The ladies would like to say that he is late every day. When he starts his day at the office. He usually has 5 to 6 pending calls, which can take anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, depending on what it is. He also has to respond to the citizens because that is his priority. After that, he goes to take care of the dogs. The city only allows for those dogs to be fed 1 time a day. That is all that is in the budget. If they eat all their food before 8 a.m., what is he supposed to do? Feed them out of his own pocket? The dogs have never been unattended for 72 hours. He also has no control over whether the dogs are left in the dark. Officers go at all times to drop off dogs. If they turn the lights off, he will not know until the next morning. I would also like to mention the fact that he has had things stolen out of his office at the kennel. That is why he no longer has an office at the kennel. I would also like to mention that the memorial picture of his dad, who passed away 2 months ago, was constantly being knocked over and turned over. He does the best he can with those dogs, but they are very short-staffed, and it is not in the budget to hire another person at the moment. I wish that people could see what he does and not criticize the things that he has no control over. It is very hard to take care of up to 10 to 15 dogs at a time. You clean one kennel, turn around, the next one's dirty. So that's about my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Next on the agenda is Connie Loveland.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I just wanted to take a moment, that's relaxing, it's really loud, and thank Fought Electric for coming down. Our lights are fixed. We have 3 working lights again. Thank you. And then also the Parks Department came down today and they cleaned everything up, got it ready for Rawhide Days for this weekend. And so I really wanted to say thank you to them because they did a good job. They came in and weed eated and mowed and put up trash cans and did all kinds of stuff for us. And then also, of course, Rawhide, but Karen is going to get up and Bobby and talk about that. So I won't hit too much on that, but Main Street does have our Death Diamonds and Daring Heroes historic walking tour going on as part of Rawhide Days, and we do still have tickets available. I think at each of the times, which are 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Oh gosh, I don't know. Goodness, there's too much going on. Check the website. Friday evening, Saturday evening, there's 2. I know the latest one is at 9 p.m. So, thank you.
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, yes. Thank you.
Next is Karen Alcorn.
Good evening, City Manager, Commissioners, Mayor Anna Angelica, City Clerk. I would like to invite you once again to Rawhide Days, and I want to thank everyone for the support and all the sponsors. We have so many. We're very blessed. Even after the pandemic, the businesses were very, very supportive of our event. I would like to invite you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock to the blessing of the event at the Carrey Historical Museum, and then let the fun begin. We've got people coming in. I've had a call from Maryland. A lady's flying in. She wants to ride a horse and wear a cowboy hat. I mean, we've got people coming, and we've got lots of Longhorns coming. So we'd like to invite you for that. We have our first Longhorn show for New Mexico in Tucumcari after the pandemic. This is the first show for them. And so it's real exciting for them. Some are not able to attend, but we're excited that they're coming here. We also have our first film festival, which has been phenomenal. It's a lot of F's. I know it's PH, Connie, okay? Our first film festival had over, and I'll let Bobby finish, but 40 submissions for our first film festival. That is just amazing to me. And I know that not all are making it, but that's submitted. Can you believe what next year will be like for the film festival? I'd like for you guys to keep that in mind also. But we welcome everyone, and we hope you can all come out and have some fun. Our programs will be here tomorrow. We're praying. So thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is Bobby Hockaday.
Howdy, Commissioners, again. How you doing? Thank you for your support of Rawhide Days, and we're looking forward to seeing any of you. You are also all invited to the events for the film festival. Of course, we've had our bumps and clumps along the road, but it's going to be an interesting ride just because, I mean, if you can't have a Western without a little bit of dirt, and I dressed up for the occasion after the outdoor classroom that Rotary helped out with this morning, or actually all day. But we are still going to hold it despite the Odeon having some technical difficulties, as well as federal legal ones with the jury summons. But we're looking forward to seeing you guys at 7 o'clock at the Mesa Lands Community College North American Wind Energy Research and Training Center. And we have all the details on the website. But we're also going to be having a free, I repeat, free screening, depending on the weather, at the fairgrounds at 8 p.m. On Friday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa Montoya.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Lisa Montoya. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you this evening. A couple of weeks ago, I called the city office wanting to know the date the pool was going to be opening. They said it would not. They could not give me a reason why. So I called my commissioner and I said, what is going on? Our kids need the public swimming pool. And they went without it last year. We're talking about 1,000 kids enrolled in our 3 schools. So that on top of grown-ups who appreciate the swimming pool, such as myself. I understand there are repairs, but I read week after week in the newspaper, money's going here for tourism, money's going here for upkeep, feasibility studies, all good things. But we have 20% of our population who is very interested in that swimming pool and very disappointed and frustrated that it will not be opening this summer. Somebody mentioned the pool does not provide any revenue. There's no return on the swimming pool. I don't know if that's true or not, but I brought a representation of that group here tonight. That's our investment. That's our return. If we do not have that swimming pool available for them, they'll sit at home on their phones, computers, internet dangers. I'm not saying there aren't dangers at the swimming pool, but it gets them outdoors. It gives them exercise. They get to continue building bonds with their peers, which they have not had enough of in the last couple of years. So, I come tonight asking that you guys move that up in your list of priorities. I don't know the reasons. I still don't have a full understanding of it, but let's set aside some money and make an investment, a continued investment in the kids of our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, and this is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent without being discussed or voted on. And under the consent agenda tonight is the approval of the work session notes for April 14th, the commission meeting for April 14th, the Pure Elegance Car Club park use permit, and that's for August 6th at their Route 66 driver, I can't remember what it's called exactly. Do you remember? It's where they cruise, the cruising 66, that's what it is. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is proclamations, memorials, or petitions, and of course, this is one of my favorite things, is the proclamations. So, let me get to that page.
Well, the first one's kind of near and dear to you.
The first one's very near and dear to me. I'm especially excited about that one. This is a proclamation for the 2022 Teacher Appreciation. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and teachers encounter students with widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends upon providing quality education to all students, and teachers spend countless hours preparing lesson plans, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service. Our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. Therefore, I, Ruth Ann Litchfield, Mayor of the City of Tucumcari and former teacher in Tucumcari, New Mexico do hereby proclaim May 2nd through May 6th as Teacher Appreciation Week in Tucumcari, New Mexico, and encourage all members of our community to join with me in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work, and especially in the last 2 years with all the different things they've had to endure. Whereas I there have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Tucumcari, New Mexico, to be affixed to this proclamation on the 28th day of April, 2022. And I think we have quite a few teachers and staff in the audience, if they would come forward, and I would like to give this to them. Thank you again for all you do for our counseling, teaching our children, and just putting up with us in general.
Thank
So there you
you.
go. Congratulations. So, very proud of you girls and boys. Girls. Thank you.
You'll
always be your girls and boys. You'll always be my- You'll always be my girls and boys. Here's another one. And I have another proclamation now. And this is another one that I'm excited about also. Whereas, and this is a proclamation for us to, let me find it. Proclaiming April 29th, 30th, and May 1st as Rawhide Days. Whereas Tucumcari has a rich Western heritage, and the ranching and agriculture industry has helped shape the culture and history of Tucumcari. The television series Rawhide highlighted this culture and the Tucumcari landscape, including several segments of the series that were filmed around Quay County. Karen Alacarn and Bobby Hockaday have worked to coordinate a 3-day festival, including a cattle drive celebrating our Western heritage, a cattle drive parade down to Tucumcari Boulevard, gunfight reenactments, musical performers, Western exhibits and events, and the Tucumcari's first ever film festival. The Rawhide Days Committee has been formed and have coordinated the annual Rawhide Days events to be held April 29th through May 1st at the Quay County Fairgrounds, Tucumcari Railroad Depot, and Tucumcari Historical Museum. By the power vested in me as mayor, I hereby proclaim April 29th, 30th, and May 1st as Rawhide Days. Witnessed my hand and seal of the city of Tucumcari, New Mexico, this 28th day of April, 2022. Thank you all for your hard work. Come on, Bobby. And as mayor, and I know the commissioners agree, we can't tell you how much we appreciate all your hard work in bringing this to our community. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
And we're excited about the film festival.
We are rolling.
Hey, that's the fun part. Next is ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2022-09, authorizing the execution and delivery of a local government planning grant. Sheree Cisneros will be, yes. Okay.
Good evening. This resolution is for a planning grant with Nmfa. We use this for a water PER. The PER was submitted and approved, and now this resolution is required to close out the grant. And I ask for your approval.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding this resolution?
No.
I would entertain a motion to approve this resolution 2022-09.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is resolution 2022-10-10. It's a sponsorship for transportation project funds for the Aber addition streets and water. And Ralph Lopez will give that.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. We are applying again for the NMDOT Transportation Project Fund in the amount for $1 million again this year to go along with the MAP and co-op that we've applied for. And we're looking at doing a street, and this time they're gonna let us do water with a Transportation Project Fund. So I had to change it up a little bit to allow for that, but it's in the Aber addition, primarily around the rec center and that area over there is what we're shooting for. So we have to do a resolution as part of the application and a cover letter, and those are both included in this packet. And at this time, I'd stand for questions and ask for your approval.
Does anyone have any questions of Ralph? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-10.
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-10.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya, Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay, next on the agenda is resolution 2021-11. It's approving participation in the programs of EPCOG, Eastern Plains Commission of Governments. And it meets in Clovis. And the Eastern Plains Council of Governments has always been an organization for the local government it serves. This letter is to formally request your continued participation and membership for the fiscal year 2022-2023, beginning July 1st. Your continued support for a cooperative regional effort to address infrastructure, economic development, and transportation planning is vital, and the cost of our yearly is $1,878. And before I ask any questions or anything, I'd like to ask Mark, do you think, we all kind of have different opinions on this, and do you think our money's well invested in this?
I believe so. I think there's certain things that they offer that we may not always utilize as a city. They provide numerous services. The thing that I would like to do is maybe utilize them a little bit more. The other thing we might discuss in the future, I know it'll come up as contracts arise, is right now we currently pay a lobbyist, and we kind of had a discussion if there's a conflict or not, considering the same lobbyist represents not only the community college, but the county as well. EPCOG will help push our capital outlay requests through, or I could do it myself as a city manager, but I think it's important to be a member of this organization. When you look at the overall scheme of things, when it comes to budget, it's minimal when it comes to the overall budget. And I do think there's opportunities there where community development has reached out for opinions on anything when it comes to grants or technicalities. So we have utilized them before, and I think it's something that maybe we should utilize a little bit more.
All right, because, I've been disappointed in it lately. It seems to me like they don't care as much for us as we do for them, but anyway, if you think it's well worth the money that helps our community development and things, then.
And they keep us in the loop of things. There's so many different email chains that go out for different ideas, grant funding opportunities, et cetera, but there's certain things that may not always be readily available that they do push out. Typically the community development, or myself as city manager, not sure if you get those as well, Mayor.
No, I know.
Sandy does a great job of pushing those out. So they are a great organization. My only comment would be to utilize more of their services, I guess. Since we're paying for them, we might as well utilize them.
Well, Mayor, you're the one who attends it, doesn't it?
Yes.
And what do you think?
Well,
Give the government body the recommendation. I'll go.
well, I don't want us to completely alienate ourselves. I get real frustrated with them sometimes because I don't feel like they pay as close attention to Carrey as they do to Clovis and the eastern and the other eastern part. But if you think it's worth to help our planning and development and things and our capital outlay, then I would say let's do it.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to accept resolution 2022-11.
Before there's a motion, we do need to appoint
Oh, that's
a
right.
member and an alternate
Right.
amongst the commission.
I go,
Who's the alternate right now?
I believe it's,
and,
yes.
right, Christopher.
I make a motion, we continue, the ones that are serving now, they choose to continue.
Okay.
I've had a comment before we have a second on that, is the day-to-day business, a manager really knows a little bit more, and I think it'd serve better as an alternate and attend most of the meetings with the mayor. It's just a suggestion.
And it was like that at one point.
It was usually the mayor and the city manager, so
It's up to the commission, whatever they want.
whatever y'all want to do,
I'm definitely gonna nominate you if you choose to do it.
I'll do it because I've been doing it.
If it's all good, if the commission feels that Chris continues, I'll be fine.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't mind continuing.
Okay,
So there's a motion on the floor. So
okay, so,
I'll second.
all right, roll call, please.
And just for clarification, the motion is to approve the resolution appointing a member,
Correct.
the mayor being the member and alternate being Commissioner Arias.
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. 'Cause, you know, I want to go to another meeting,
We have so many
I'll
friends.
pay the dues.
but I can go to Clovis and go to Hobby Lobby, right? All right, next on the agenda is bids and contracts, and this is the bid recommendation for ground storage tank rehab project. And it was a lot of reading. Okay, Sharia.
The city had a bid opening on April 13th for the 11th Street concrete tank rehab project. We received one bid, which was from DN Tanks, and they were found responsive, and our engineer, Park Hill, has recommended that we approve their bid. So I ask for your approval.
Any questions concerning this? This is the tank that sits behind the purple and gold one?
Yes,
That's the concrete.
Yeah,
yeah, the concrete. It's not in service right now,
okay.
but we're rehabbing it.
Quick question is so the reason you only got one bid is because it's an old concrete type tank, or why just no interest?
We advertised, and I believe DN Tanks is, they specialize in concrete tanks, so maybe that's,
Why I was questioning that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I would entertain a motion to accept this bid on the 11th Street ground storage tank rehab.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Ycc contract. Shreya, you're presenting that also?
Yes, ma'am. So the city was awarded $60,487 for the YC program. There is a city match of at least 20%, but most of this will be in kind. This will be a 10-week program where we hire the students 14 through 24 years of age. And once we submit the signed contract, we will be issued a notice to proceed and can begin the hiring process.
Anyone have any questions, comments?
I have a question. Somebody asked me, where do you pick up an application?
I believe it's usually handled by HR. I believe we can give out the applications at our office at Community Development, and I think they're available online as well. It's just the standard city application.
I don't know if we could even do this, but maybe since there being such an issue on the kennel, can somebody use the unfriendly dogs, can they walk them? So they just sit in that 420 in that, and some of them have been there a long time.
I'd have to look into that.
Madam Mayor, I'll address that as well as the application. It's our typical city application. They could be picked up here at City Hall, or At community development, our city applications are also available online at cityoftickentrade.com. So there's multiple ways you could get the application, and then please submit them either to community development or to City Hall. In regards to any extracurricular activities, any kind of additional job duties, if it's not within the scope of the YCC grant agreement, we're not able to do that. And considering the liability we would have with youth walking dogs, there's a lot of potential there for some concerns. So anything outside the scope of the grant agreement, I would not recommend it. It could actually cause us to lose funding as well.
Okay. Give me a recommendation, what is the, give me the definition, what is the grant agreement? I haven't read it.
Well, they work, I know one year they redid the Del Norte Center. They work on community buildings.
You want to touch the
On the parks. Yeah.
So some of the bigger projects, the members will be installing a new sprinkler system in the newest expansion of the cemetery. I know that was a big concern. They're doing a lot of beautification stuff around the parks, replacing old equipment. They will be re-roofing the Little League concession stand. And I believe in the contract, all the work plans are in there. So there is quite a bit of work.
No, right.
Yes.
But most of the scope of it would be to assist in whatever the city wants, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's all I asked for.
And with that, Commissioner, I don't know the exact guidelines, but outside the scope of the actual grant agreement of, say, installing the sprinkler system, there's a whole bunch of do's and don'ts when it comes to, for example, you cannot have a YCC employee do the work, say, of an existing city employee. So if
No, I imagine it wouldn't, because that's not to replace other people's duties.
correct, so it's specific to the scope within the grant agreement, as well as there's usually an alternative job scope duties in case of inclement weather. They will do some work interior or something that's been pre-approved by the state, but anything that's not been approved by the state is not eligible.
Okay.
Right, so I would entertain a motion to accept the YCC contract.
Madam Mayor, so moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Moya?
Yep.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Hey, Sheree, it's you again. So this is the Nmfa planning grant agreement.
Yes, ma'am. This goes along with the resolution for the planning grant. This is required to close out the agreement. And I ask for your approval.
Does anyone have any questions, comments? I would entertain a motion to approve this grant agreement.
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we approve the grant agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please. Oh. Oops.
Okay, so Commissioner Arias motioned,
Yes.
and who second?
Cherry.
Cherry.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya? Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the change order number 1 regarding painting at the convention center.
Yes, and at the previous commission meeting, we approved, I believe it was around the ballpark of $38,000 to $39,000 to paint the convention center. This was all paid out of lodger's tax, not the general fund. With that being stated, as things came up, it was most advantageous to go ahead and create a change order to do some additional work. This is an amount with taxes somewhere in the ballpark of $19,000, specifically $19,174.30. This included work to include the painting of the exterior where the patio's at, the stucco, the brick around the entire building, the pipe and handrails around the building, the restrooms on both the north and south end, 4 restrooms, the bar, to paint where the baseboard was in the entryway, additional door and window frames that were not all included in the beginning. And I believe that was it. There's probably more, but again, we were trying to get this all completed prior to some events. We have a wedding this weekend. So at this point, it is looking amazing. And I ask for the commission's approval of change order number 1.
Are we, what is the limit that you can go without having to go out for another bid?
60,000.
And we're at what?
This, with the change order, puts it at 58,000, somewhere in the ballpark. It was 38 or 39 and 19. So it's still underneath that without having to go out for a formal bid.
I don't understand why couldn't this have all been in one bid?
Because at the time, the original bid was just to get the bare minimum done. As we went through, and I noticed things out there at the convention center, certain areas looked horrible. They didn't look appealing. So I figured that was the best time to go ahead and do the change order and ask them to move forward with it.
If approved tonight, what's our expected completion time?
Before the wedding on Saturday, it's already, it'll be done.
I think it's already been done.
Most of it has, not all of it.
So we're just gonna have to approve it.
I'd entertain a motion to approve change order number 1.
I'll make a motion there.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Ganeva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherry.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is new business. Let's see, we have the, skipping that one.
Yes.
Approval of the 2023 capital outlay application for renovations at Carrey Senior Citizen. I believe Ray will give that.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Commission. So every year we look at what we're going to be needing in a couple of years. And this year we're going to be applying for an expansion of the current senior center. I've included everything in your packet. They have changed things at capital outlay. Before we could actually do the application, bring it to you. And now it's all online, so you can't print it until it's submitted. So we don't want to submit it until it's approved. So what you've got there is it's not a resolution, it's approval so that I can go ahead and submit that on behalf of the city. And what we're looking at is to add on to the building, and we would utilize that for office space and take the current office space and change that so that we could make those rooms more functional. As we proceed, we are hoping to become more than a meal site and become a real senior center where we can offer educational classes. Altruis has given us a grant. We're actually going to be having a computer room so we can help seniors with computer work or education, teach them how to use computers. That's coming up really quick. We're also wanting to do some exercise classes and just some general teaching, and then whatever seniors want, game night, those kind of things. So I would be willing to answer any questions or respectfully request your approval.
Anybody have any questions?
I got a question. How much more do you need add on?
I believe it's in there, 600, I think we got, so when we're doing the application, we actually have to have a quote to go with it. And I believe it's 668 square feet that we would be adding to the south end of the building.
And Claire, you should actually have room on the south end without.
Yes, so the contractor that came and actually gave us the bid, he actually made sure the setbacks were correct and everything else. So we'll be taking that building almost all the way to the curb. You can't see it, Commissioner
No.
Cherry?
Did you see
I
that?
meant that, yes, I did.
Okay.
And that, I don't think that makes the setback if it's at the curb. Yeah, you can't.
It may not be right at, so of course I'm saying setback like I know what I'm talking about and I don't. So before he did this, he checked all that out. Now, this is not a plan to build yet. This is just to go after the money. Yes, and then when we go, once we approve it, I submit the application, and then if it's approved in a year or two, then we go out for bid, and then all those logistics will be taken care of.
And I apologize, I should have went by and kind of looked at it. I did look at your map, so.
No apology
I
needed.
Madam Mayor, if I would, same thing like Commissioner Cherry was referencing, if we were to get those, get that capital outlay, it'd be an easy process where the city has to follow the same rules as every other citizen. We have to go through the process to get a variance to encroach on that setback that does actually do that. And we'd have to go through the process, public hearing, send letters out to property owners with 100 feet. So we do have to follow the same rules as the citizens as well.
I just need permission to go ahead and write the grant.
So do I have any other discussion or questions? I would entertain a motion to pass this approval so that she can go ahead and apply for capital outlay.
I'll make a motion there.
Okay, do I have a second? Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Thank you.
Thank
And we are looking at a soft date of opening of July 5th. And we will be fully staffed by May 12th. All positions have been filled.
So we'll get started having meetings again?
Yes, we will.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
There's another meeting for you.
I love the senior citizens meeting. I get coffee. Next on the agenda is the commission accepts the city manager's resignation. So,
Whatever.
So, Mark, you want to say anything?
I was gonna elaborate more in my city manager's reports.
Okay.
I was asked to put this on the agenda as well. I think it's just more of a formality that the commission would like to do.
Okay.
I did submit my resignation back on March 24th. And I'll elaborate a little bit more in my reports, but it's not required by law or anything to actually accept it. It's something that the commission has brought up.
So I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
No.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard.
All right, next is an action item regarding the city manager's position. We've got a kind of a temporary thing to send out to start having applications. We decided that since his 60 days from March 24th, when he formally resigned, was going to run over, so we're going to extend that to probably June, July, or until the position is formed, is filled. So, do I have an entertain a motion to start looking for a city manager?
I'll go ahead and move on that and do the modifications that we have recommended and let's get going and advertise and so forth.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya.
Next on the agenda is. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving along. He told me to get moving.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda is the clinical affiliation agreement with Clovis Community College concerning our EMT training.
Yes, ma'am. This is between the city of Tucumcari and Clovis Community College, stated as a clinical affiliation agreement. So when students from Clovis Community College need ride-alongs to get that clinical experience, they can partner with us as a city. They ride along. It has all the, everything spelled out, liability, everything required. When a student is on for a ride-along, they're representing the community college, but not, if they happen to be employed with the city for some reason, they're not a city employer or affiliated with anybody else that time, they're strictly a student. And they have the appropriate uniform as well as badge to identify themselves as a student. And with that, I think this is great for the city to continue this ride-along program or clinical affiliation agreement. It helps not only us here internally for some of our employees, but also those within the region, or anybody from Clovis Community College. So with that being said, I respectfully ask for your approval.
Let me, we did discuss this in the past, and we had a question, remember, on the HIPAA Act, for students. It was not in that contract. I didn't read the contract or anything. Did we add it on? Is it on there?
What were you looking for specifically? Again, I know last time it was the one with New Mexico State, I believe. It was different. I remember you brought up immunizations and.
It was with paramedics. It was.
So this one, I don't recall anything with HIPAA, but I do remember the immunizations, and the immunizations are addressed on number 13.
And then the Privacy Act is very, I don't care if you're a student or not, if that's mandated by law, we lose our Medicaid life to make sure that's in the contract.
100%, whether, no matter what it is, students, anything, yes, HIPAA's always in place.
Yeah, make sure it's in the contract. I noticed the other contract, the last contract, I didn't read this one, didn't have it.
That's part of the classroom training. They sign in the classroom before they allow them to do that. That's one of the first things.
Actually, it has to be in writing in the contract, or else it is liability from the city of Tucumcari, and the students cannot be held unaccountable. We do the same thing with all our interns that we have. And the insurance always says you have to have it in the contract. And if you don't have it in the contract, it doesn't mean anything. So with that addition, I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Roll call, please. Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Ganova?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is the city manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. So I wanted to open up speaking about my resignation from the city. I know it's been a hot topic. It's been out there throughout the community. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank the city commission and all the citizens for their support throughout my tenure as city manager. I'm not going anywhere. Per my contract, I am exercising my option to give my 60-day resignation, which was official March 24th. In doing so, I'm exercising the option to go back to my previous position as assistant city manager. I'm not leaving the city. I've not been terminated. This is strictly a decision I've made for myself, what's best for the interest of my career. I've been with the city nearly 15 years now. I have 10 years to retire. This position is one that's rough. It's stressful. It's something that typically most city managers, through my time here with the city, doesn't last much more than 2 to 3 years. It was coming up to the time where it was discussion for my contract. And again, this was a decision, solely my decision based on what was best for my career and my future. This is my home. I have roots here. I've been born and raised here, grew up here, out at Concha Lake as well. So this is where I want to continue to live and work. This is where I want to retire from. So again, it was just a great career move for me to go ahead and exercise that option. I look forward to the opportunity to potentially fill in the seat sometime again in the near future, but it's my time to kind of step back and find somebody else to lead the city and again, a decision based for my future. With that being said, I'd like to move on to some business that's happened within the past couple of weeks. We had a water leak underneath Route 66. Didn't have a chance to call a special meeting or get anything ordered. It is over my $10,000 spending limit as city manager. Unfortunately, as emergencies occur, emergency rules do apply. So with that being said, it's something we had to do to get fixed in a short amount of time. Thankfully, we were able to do so, and water was never lost to any businesses or residences. Everything was isolated and removed underneath, not removed, but isolated away from underneath the boulevard or Route 66. Hopefully we'll save money on it because the original plan was to go underneath and replace that line. They were able to insert 3 valves and eliminate service underneath the highway. So hopefully the bill's a little bit cheaper, but we did get that resolved without any issues other than little inconvenience, maybe going down to single lane traffic, but we did have traffic control, repaved the areas that needed to be done. So that's been completed. Also, I had this on my manager's report before the public comment. I like to thank Ms. Montoya for her comment on the public pool. I did a little bit more research. I had a majority of the information available to me, but I want to get the specific facts. So when it comes to the public pool, it is a concern when it comes to budget. Right now, we still owe $60,000 on a loan from 2006 from the last time the pool was renovated or rehabbed. That will not be paid up until the year 2026. We are paying at about a rate of $15,000 per year. That is out of the general fund. So you figure that's a 20-year loan, and that's been a big bill. I do agree we need to do something for the youth in our community. Have met with the parks director a few times. We've talked about how much it could potentially cost to get this pool back in service. There's a few different options. He had a pool company come down from Albuquerque a while back, and this has probably been over a year ago. And at that point, we were already looking upwards of $400,000. There was an issue where we have a leak underneath the pool. The floor of the pool has some voids in it. There's either holes in the plaster or something that's going on. we were losing tens of thousands of gallons of water, which, contrary to what is rumored out in the public, the city still has to pay for our own water. We pay for that water, so that was a big expense. So unfortunately, based on resealing the pool, there's a leak, I believe, potentially in the wall of the pool. We have to get a new filtration system. All that's where I'm getting about roughly maybe about $400,000. According to the Parks and Recs director, from what the gentleman that had the pool company stated, he said we're probably better off just filling it, starting from scratch and doing a new pool. Either way, it's not going to be cheap, it's going to be expensive. And that's something that we could discuss during budget talks. We have that coming up in a few weeks. And what are the needs, priorities? What can we afford? What has to be cut in order for something, for us to fund something like that $400,000? It's disappointing. Trust me, I know my children are disappointed. They love going to the pool as well. It's just, how do we meet that void? Where do we come up with the funds to do that?
Let me ask you a question. The public has really been outraged about wanting that pool going. Why can't we float a bond for it and include the $60,000 that we owe on it? And make it one solid bond, and we'll put it back on the public to help us get that new pool. He's probably right. The new pool is probably more the way to go, because when you have seepage of the type that you have in a pool like that, and a sandy base type of ground, you might have some more holes in there, and then the contamination starts to get into the water table. So actually, I think the best thing for us to do is to look at a bond. I think we have an election coming up, where maybe we can get the bond on there and let the city of Carrey residents help us with a good bond to take care of that problem, and include the $60,000 that we owe into the bond, so if it's just one payment.
That is something we could pursue and look into.
Yeah, I think it's important, because a lot of people, I think, and I understand the public difficulty of understanding what they keep saying, and I understand the lady here. I really want to thank her for coming. Like she said, we do this and we do that, but that's from a different fund. That's from the lodger's tax fund. And so actually, if we look at floating a bond, getting this situation out of the way, because it's really, really important, because I can understand how the children really need that. So a bond would be excellent, and include 60,000 in there, and let's go.
There's a good possibility we could actually have that language where it's expressed, where it's not maybe so much even just the pool. The main intent's the pool, but also recreation as a whole. So if we have
a good bond.
extra money available, not only can we do the pool,
Because
but
we also have the
put that into
recreation,
recreation.
no, we got capital outlay for the rec center, did we?
We were on the list and it never got approved, so we did
Maybe
not.
we need to throw it in there, and to get one solid bond for both the recreation and the pool. And throwing the 60,000 that we owe in there, and just have one thing.
They changed names, I cannot think of it right now.
It used to be RBC, is it still?
No, sir, they changed names. I want to say it's called Stifle or something like that.
Is Eric still with them then? Who is our agent over there?
It used to be, George K-Bomb, or something there, and then they,
George K-Bomb was one that,
was that previous?
Rick contracted.
Well, that's who we're with.
Oh, yeah, then it's-
Well, we went from them and they were, bought out by another company, so I could get the name.
So, real quick then, who's our loan through now? Is it
The
NMFA?
loan is through NMFA currently.
Okay. And do they do an intercept on that?
That's a good question. I'll have to look to see if it's directly intercepted or if it's just something we pay.
Okay, so suggestion, I like the idea. I really like the idea. So don't write it down that I agree with Ralph.
Highlighted.
Yeah. Let's give them the bonding people and ask them to come down, and we can sit down with them in a work session or whatever. At least they can tell you where we're at on our bonding and how many meals it would take or whatever, so we could look at,
Correct, and Commissioner Moy and I had talked about that previously about the bond, but I thought about it now, it may not be a bad idea to include the language loosely like we do with grants where it's for recreation purposes for our youth, and that includes that. So if we have enough, then we could also put a new roof on the recreation.
We have to save our building in that recreation big, we couldn't even.
But for a project like that, it'd have to be a referendum.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Next, I just kind of touched base on it earlier with the painting, but I don't know what I want to do. I think we need to do something, maybe some kind of open house eventually, maybe cookies and coffee at the convention center eventually. Once it's all said and done, I want everybody to go out there and take a look of what's been accomplished within the past couple of months. I think at this point, probably every single commissioner has been out there to take a look. I'm not sure if you have to show this, but it looks amazing. Nothing but compliments. We're not quite there. There's some other things that we want to do in regards to LED lighting that would be an overall cost savings out there, and then really start promoting it. Previously, we talked about let's promote it, but it was in rough shape. So the closer we get to getting a finished product, then we can really promote that. So I want to encourage everybody to get out there, and I think we could do some kind of community event eventually. If not, then it'll definitely be available for the community event in June. Next, I want to show appreciation for all the teachers next week, Teacher Appreciation Week. I know how difficult and blessing how those teachers are, mentors to everybody, and thank not only everybody that's teaching now, but those that have retired. And of course, it hits home because I have my mother retired from teaching, still subs, as well as my brother's a teacher in Rio Rancho. So thank you to all the teachers. I also wanted to thank some of our community members for all they do and step up. Karen, thank you for all you do. Rawhide, I'm looking forward to that. Connie, as usual, you do so much. I can't even begin to explain that. Bobby, thanks for what you do. And Scott at the chamber, thanks for getting things last minute. I also wanted to thank our city staff, community development, as you can see tonight and every other night. It's usually their agenda. Tons of grants, tons of different projects going on. So thank you, Ralph. Thanks, Rhea. And all the other city staff. Can't forget them. Claire, for all you do at the senior center. We're finally going to be fully staffed. That's amazing. Opening on July 5th. She took some of my thunder. She didn't know, but that was on mine. And I was happy to finally get fully staffed and get that place open again in July. So thank you to everyone. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Before I ask the commissioners to each have their say, I would like to say we do have a special guest sitting up here with us tonight. You don't see him, or is it her?
It's a boy.
It's a boy. Okay, well, you said their name was Sally.
Probably baby Sally, because when somebody gets emotional, she start crying.
We have a therapy dog back here that Ralph's been training and working
See if he
with.
wants to get out.
And Ralph names.
And so, anyway, that's what you hear every now and then, because she's crying now.
Yeah, it's a animal that I picked up, and I'm gonna be honest with you. He's been really well trained. He goes to the office. We got 6 clinics, and as soon as I get to the clinic, he goes behind my desk and stays there. He's very supportive of me. He's been trained to utilize the restroom, also never to mess with when he's in the public, to stay isolated from the public and allow the public their privacy, and she just stays with me at all times. This is the second dog I have trained, and the last one I gave to another person who needed it. This one I got to attach. He might be able to.
Is he the reason you're so calm tonight?
Yeah.
So we're gonna ask him, you're welcome to every meeting.
Yes.
Keep that dog and rename it.
Yeah. Actually, his name was Crybaby Sally, because of the fact is that when he first started, we had problems with him. When somebody would come in with a lot of emotions, he would start crying, and so it was hard to, at that time, he was in training to calm him down. I also wrote a little article on him, on the emotional support dogs, for people to understand how they work and what they do. Anybody wants a copy, we got that.
So you wanna go ahead with your comments since you're already talking?
Okay, first of all, I don't know if the commission knows, I think it's on. The commission, I had a complaint on High Street, and what I did, I had the city clerk forward a copy of all those pictures of the property they're talking about. And the reason I had the clerk do it to all the commissioners is so that it wouldn't be considered to be a rolling quorum. And the problem with the people in that neighborhood, it's out here on the east side by Jimenez Park, is that what it's called? Anyway, so what happened is an individual has taken some property and has, I guess was going to develop into something, and now they got tons and tons of tires. Their biggest concern, if you guys saw in the pictures and in the video, was the fact is that there's also a lot of needles out there. And what happened in one of the videos where they filmed it, the little boys running up and down the dirt piles. I don't know how that got out of control. I guess it's been quite a while because the people are pretty upset in that neighborhood.
Well, the hole.
Yeah.
Somebody could fall in that hole and get
It's a
hurt.
big hole, and also the fact that those piles of tires,
Yeah.
which are well known for breeding mosquitoes, and also the needles was the biggest concern they had. And then they had a car there, I guess, that they just parted out. They took all the doors and everything. You all saw in the picture, so we need to really get on it. This has become a health hazardous because of it's open, it's not even enclosed, and all those, and the needles, the tires, it's just a junkyard out there.
Yeah.
So, and this was brought to my attention, so I needed to bring it to you guys. The other thing I needed to talk, and that is important for understanding, is that we're not clear out of the coronavirus. Where right now, I had an employee get sick, but we're not sure if it's corona or not, or the regular flu could also be. So people don't, one of the things is do not relax so much that you don't, that we don't want an epidemic again. Tucumcari was pretty high, Quake County is pretty high. And so what I really would like to see is that we continue to practice as much safety as we can and distancing. I know in our office, you're still not allowed to come in without a mask, and because we were concerned about it. It took a lot of our friends, and it's not something we want to deal with. The other thing is, I had to ask the city manager, I was looking at the budget. Is that the budget you gave to Commissioner Villanueva? I was looking at one of the budgets.
No, that's something else.
I did, I just gave.
Huh?
I just gave.
Oh, Ms. Alias gave it to me. I was looking at that budget, and you said that the convention guy was full-time, and how come it's only 16,800 and something?
That could be a typo. That could have been a draft, I'm not sure, but he's definitely full-time, 40 hours a week.
Oh, really? Can you see for sure? Because
100% sure, yes, sir.
because it was 16,800 and something on his salary.
So, no, he gets paid out of a different fund,
Yeah.
but I guess the thing is, so there's been changes, and what happened, I bet you that's an older version that hasn't been updated, because he used to be full-time. We had a staff of a director and one full-time employee and a part-time employee. During COVID, there wasn't any events, so those employees were transferred to other departments, and those positions were cut at the time. The director went back down to part-time. There wasn't enough work to stay busy, so since then, that director has been back and reinstated to full-time with benefits.
When was he reinstated to full-time?
I don't have the exact date, but we could pull it up to the system. I could get it for you.
Was it a long time ago?
It's been,
Over a year?
I don't even know if it's over a year, but it's been a while back, and we started opening up the
Right.
business again. So it gets reinstated
Yeah.
full-time.
Couple of months?
Yeah,
I'd say over half a year or so.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just concerned because, we have to be fair to people sometimes. And I noticed that there's areas that we were concerned about the convention, and if we don't have a full-time person, we can be criticizing somebody if we don't provide the supporting staff. Other than that, that's all I have, and thank you.
okay, Commissioner Villanueva, you wanted to say something a while ago, so
Yeah. I forgot what we're talking
the open hole over there by.
Oh, yeah.
On High Street.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to ask, did he actually get a permit or anything to do it?
I've been by there several times and I have not seen a permit posted anywhere. So I don't know.
Plan development, don't know nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the area, so.
High Street,
It's like Hyde Park, I believe.
Yeah.
That general area.
He
By
said
the
he was-
maintenance park.
Yeah, he said he was trying to build a castle.
He's
I couldn't tell you
come in
that.
and
We searched it.
inquired about them and picked up the permits, but never return them.
Okay. There's the answer to your question.
Talking about the pool, how old is it?
I don't know the exact age, I just know the last time it had significant work done and we had a loan out on it was 2006.
My kids went there when they were little, so it's
Wow.
a while.
Like I said in a meeting before, it'd be nice if we could do something like Las Vegas. I'm not using them as an example, but have a nice rec center, These kids deserve it. We deserve it. These kids deserve it right now. But we need like a rec center like that with a pool, indoor stuff, even our elderly people could use it to exercise in the water. We need an indoor pool.
I do have a lot of requests, people who call me, actually one, people that are moving to here, they wanted to know if we had a pool for senior citizens to be able, because they're therapeutic of recommending that. I think one had a stroke and the one had surgery.
I was gonna ask you on the boulevard. We hired a contractor to do the line work.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we go maintain the asphalt work, like say breaks, caves in.
All of that, the asphalt work, that should be warranted. Typically, you have 11-month warranty review. We didn't do any of it. That was subcontracted out. So we hired RMCI. They handled the job. And then I believe they subcontracted out Checos to do the asphalt. So I don't think it shouldn't be on the city, but it should be upkept, and for contractors, and that's what I expect.
Another thing, I've been getting complaints that, our officers are not getting paid enough. What can we do to get them more money?
It's all to the commission. We'll have budget talks as we discuss this. These are all pertinent subjects that we need to really consider this year. We talked about it years past. What can we do? We want public pools. We want to continue what we want. We want raises. We want new equipment. We want new vehicles. The reality is we can't afford all of it. So the pool issue, maybe we go and address that by bonding. The best way to get more money back into the system is GRT. We need more businesses. We need manufacturing type of jobs. We need something to increase that GRT ultimately. But I think they deserve as well. I agree. I believe if one person gets a raise, everybody should get a raise. The thing is, we need to be competitive. With legislation that was just passed, and we talked about this in previous meetings, New Mexico State Police is getting a significant raise.
19%.
Which means that's going to take away from ours. We could go and send these people to the law enforcement academy, or people we've had certified, and they could be taken out right over us. For example, I brought it up last commission meeting after speaking with the public safety advisor. Our neighbors just to the west of us, Santa Rosa is offering $20 an hour starting for officers off the street, and Guadalupe County is even higher at $25 per hour. We don't have right now we have department heads that don't make that. So how do we fix that? And it's been discussed previously as well with cannabis. We're only going to have 1/4 of that coming in. It's going to be too late. We'll already decide budget before we even see what that's going to do for us in this community. But my thought is, with that money, once we know how much is coming in, we need to reinvest that to our employees. If we do not have the employees, we're not paying what they're worth, we won't even have employees to fill the potholes. Right now, we're shorthanded. We're down 2 or 3 employees in the streets department. So,
Can I ask the question, why are we
down?
short and down?
My thought is because we can't offer competitive wages. And how do we offer competitive wages? We got to make cuts, or we need more GRT to come in. I mean, and that's where we have to make serious decisions as a governing body. Me as city manager making recommendations, the city ultimately voting on the budget. What are we going to do to fix that? How do we remedy that? So May will be very interesting because we'll be discussing that, had multiple work sessions and many hours discussing.
Talking about like raises, certain people only got $1. Some of those people in salary got 3 cents or whatever.
So all hourly employees received a $1 an hour increase, raise, and all salaried employees only received a 2%. So most of that amounted to less than $1 for most individuals. And we did that in an effort to try to be equitable. If you were to give $1 to a salaried employee, they're gonna have more separation. We're trying to avoid compression where we're not too close together. You can't have somebody coming in off the street making minimum wage, making the same as a paramedic that's been there for 5 years. It's not right. So we need to address that. But again, everybody did receive that raise except for the police department, which that was voted on by the city commission.
But what's sad is, we got people that have been here 10, 15 years, getting ready to retire, and they're barely making minimum wage.
I agree. And it's, I don't want to point fingers at previous management or previous commissions, but this is something that should have been addressed over the years, not just in one chunk as we go now. I mean, when you started, minimum wage was a lot lower. When I started, minimum wage was a lot lower. But what should have happened throughout the years with the cost of living raises as well as minimum wage going up, there should have been plans in the budget to take care of the employees and go and move up with it. It's unfortunate that it's come down to that, but since I've been in the seat, I've been trying to correct that. It's slowly, we were trying to correct that and make it the way it should be, but we're a long ways from getting there.
Like me, I feel sorry for these guys, they need steel toe boots. How much do you give them steel toe boots? $50, $70 a year?
It depends, and that's usually only Public Works has the budget to afford that. That's where it comes out of either water or wastewater typically. We do provide most of the employees' uniforms that are out in the field. But the other thing is being equitable. We can't set ourselves up for favoritism. We can't get ourselves on the wrong end of a lawsuit simply because someone's been here longer, or we appreciate them more, we like them more. We can't show favoritism. It needs to be across the board.
Commissioner, one of the things that I like to point out is I've been in the commission now going on 7 years. One of the things is when we came in, when I came in 6 years ago, the budget was in a very stressed situation. It was in a real mess. And so what happens is that this commission has really worked hard to kind of bring it up to a more suitable position. Now we have it where it's able to breathe and do things, and now we can start looking at that. But what happens is, and this is a state law, you cannot operate in the deficit. And if you continue to operate in the deficit and wind up not being able to do what you're to operate,
Yes, sir.
the state can come in and step in and assign another entity to be our agent, and we won't even be able to control our money. That's why it was such a necessity for this governing body at the beginning was to balance it and making sure that that did not happen. So now we're in a position that we can start working towards the salaries. And it was sad that a lot of people had to pay that. But, we're not responsible for the past, we're responsible for the future. And we have done our job on that part, and we hope to go forward. Thank you.
I got another thing, Mark. Is there a way we could work with the college to help some of our employees to get like the CDL right now? Because they're saying it's a 2-week course.
As far as paying for it,
Well, help them out or something, you know what I mean? Because surely, like you said, we're shorthanded in the street department. If somebody wanted to get their CDL, they can go help drive a trash truck. In case if somebody ain't there, you know what I mean?
I'd have to look into it. I'm sure there's a way to do it. We just got to figure out where the funding's going to come from.
Okay, well, I want to thank the listeners, everybody, and that's it for me, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Cherry?
What was I gonna talk about? Do you remember?
No?
Okay, I think I've covered about everything tonight, except Mark. When we start talking about bonding and talking about recreation and pool, it's a pool involved.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay? I think they would really be receptive to some things.
I agree.
All right? Thank you.
Commissioner Arias?
Thank you, Mayor. It was nice having a packed house tonight. We had just about every seat filled here in the chambers. I do want to give the commissioner an update on the Ute Lake Water Commission meeting that we had this last week. Like I said, it was pretty routine. We went ahead and passed, the normal resolutions that we get going. There was an update from the Ute Lake pipeline water pipeline, they are making
Utility.
utility line, they are getting ready to start the phase that would run the water from north of Clovis towards the cap. So they're getting ready to break down on some of that, so they are inching closer, so, benefits them, doesn't quite benefit us, but, that's the update on that. We have agreed to meet at least annually or as needed, so if another meeting is assigned, I'll let you all know what that will be.
Good.
I do also want to point out that we do have Miss Trinity Gonzalez going off to nationals for the Elks hoop shoot. So,
Wow.
good kudos to her for that. I know I've never been able to shoot a basketball, so that's impressive. With that, great, thank you.
I think she left yesterday.
Did she leave?
I think she left yesterday. Yeah. So, is that all?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming and for speaking and it was nice to see a full house tonight. Also too, don't forget, in the morning, 10 o'clock, Historical Museum, let's get it started, kick it off. And will be a good weekend.
Yeah, what's it, gravy and biscuits?
Gravy and biscuits at 10:15.
You've had me agree.
So, thank you again for everyone for coming, and I do appreciate all the work that.
Good thing. I forgot to do one more thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna present this back to the chief of police. This was given to me by a person that got arrested, not under your watchman, but under the other previous chief of police. And what happened is, I guess that other policeman told the person after he took him up to hold him, and he winded up, or her, bringing it to me to make sure we return it back. I had it in my office for a year, so I wanted to come home and get it. Thank God it wasn't the gun. That's all I can say.
You get the key?
No, but they're universal, and it says where they order them, you can get the key.
I need one.
They're pretty good key, handcuffs, so I decided to give them back to you guys. I had them for an office, a year in my office, it wasn't under your guard, so I guess you gave it back to the person when you took them off. And then she brought them to me, you can have them, I don't care.
Anyway, thank you everyone for coming, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, roll call.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Commissioner
You want me to sign tonight?
I think we're ready for you to sign.
Okay. Okay.
I think it'd be good. I think Rotary could pop in.